9% of people I come across don't know it. The population is like 3,500, 3,500
Oh,
people. Is like really tiny, man. It's really close to St. Martin, and that's where I grew up. That's where my grandparents lived. That's where my dad's from. My mom is Dutch, so that's where I grew up until I moved to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, when I was 18.
nice, nice. And how are you liking Holland?
Holland is cool, man. Holland is cool, you know. For somebody who smoke herb like me, I guess after Cali, Holland is probably the best place to be.
After Humboldt County.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Definitely.
What's your favorite flavor so far?
To tell you the honest truth, I ain't even read like what I had, you know. I was so shocked that they had like a herb tent. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, this is absurd. Like really free herb, even in Amsterdam. I never experienced that. So I have no idea what I'm smoking, but it's all great, man. It's all great.
Yeah, based on that, what's the herb scene actually like in Holland? What would you say
I
about it?
guess the same as what you usually know, you know. Nothing much ain't changed. I know people ask me questions sometimes about, because they heard like stuff change about tourism and for foreigners, but it's nothing like that. For some cities on the border that's like close to Belgium and Germany, they try to restrict it a bit because they don't want people crossing the border and, you know, exporting stuff. But that's it. If you're in Amsterdam or the big cities, like you don't notice any difference. It's the same stuff. So it's cool. You have your cafes where you could go in and buy your herb and smoke and have your coffee. You don't have the abundance of weed like here, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Other diversity. Yeah. You have options over there too, but okay, I mean, obviously, humble. This is really some different stuff over here, man. No doubt. I gotta give you all the crown,
The
even
highest
coming
grade.
from Amsterdam. Yeah.
Nice. We've heard a lot of inspirations from a lot of artists here at the interview temp. What are some of your inspirations growing up, as far as musicians from Jamaica?
From Jamaica. Um. Well, growing up, look, I born in '81, so I guess Shabba and Bob, obviously, you know, I think for most people, Bob is the first thing you get to hear because that's so, you know,
True.
that's so broad and big. And after that, Bob, Bojo, Beanie, like that stuff. I'm from a tiny island, so my island was more about soca and that stuff. So, you know, that was very influential also. My granny them was strict Christians, so I grew up in the church choir. So I wasn't allowed to play any of that stuff at home, you know. So it was really what I heard on the road. And yeah, that's that, you know, the main stuff is what was popping, man. So that's what I picked up growing up.
How long ago did you start working with Zionite Kings?
The first album we did was released in 2014, so I was recording that in 2013. So I would guess I met David about 2012, somewhere around there is where we probably met for the first time. And yeah, just like different people I meet, you know, I think it was online, and he sent me a rhythm that was really crazy, and then I got to research more and find out what he was about and who he worked with, and you hear the music, and you know, for me it's always mainly about the music, you know. I don't really the links and the name and that kind of stuff is cool for afterwards, but first and foremost it's about what it sounds like. So he really impressed me with that, and then we just went with that.
Nice.
Greetings, Roots Master
Yeah.
here, WWOZ FM, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yes.
Welcome to
Yes,
Cali,
sir.
welcome to Humboldt County and to Reggae on the River.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Ziggy, are you in the Netherlands? Your music crosses between like lovers rock to social conscious and cultural lyrics.
Yeah.
So, being that you've been in Holland since you were, you say, 18.
Yeah.
You know, how do you rejuvenate? How do you rejuvenate in terms of refueling? You know, your cultural roots. Do you
The
go back? Do
cultural
you go back home?
You mean the cultural aspect?
Yes.
And that was kind of a natural thing, you know. I wasn't trying to be an artist, to tell you the truth. You know, I had some friends of mine who was really more about that, and I was in Holland, and because of them and different circumstances, as a long story, somebody ended up being my manager and pushing my stuff and getting that going. And the music that people respond to the most was the reggae, the more, you know,
See?
yeah, the more melodic stuff. So that made me get into that, and the more I got into that, then I started to check, to really check it out, because like I said, when I started, it was more like I had a manager or somebody who was really pushing it, while I wasn't really messing with it seriously myself too much. It was like, okay, I was still in school back then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was not my priority. And then later, like I said, when things did start to happen, because he was doing that was the part of the music that people really picked up too. And then when I started to check it out, yeah, I was just attracted to the roots and the reggae aspect. And I grew up actually pretty strict church, to tell you the truth. You know, I grew up with my grandparents, so they were pretty old school, 7-day Adventists. You know, it's a Sabbath, Friday when the sun set, them kind of vibes. Pathfinders.
And knock on your door.
Yeah,
with the
Pathfinders,
magazine.
church choir, like really everything, man. So, you know, so, and then the cultural thing, I guess that just came naturally. I had something to say, and that just happened, to tell you the truth.
And since you are in Holland, and reggae speaks to social justice issues, injustice, you know, police brutality, you know, promoting peace, promoting love, promoting spirituality, promoting Rastafari. So in Holland, is there any issues that's confronting the communities that's considered undesirable? So who are the undesirables?
I look very much, man, very much, very much. I think the image people have of Holland is pretty much that it's like a very tolerant place and everything is cool. But I think it's just like all media all over the world, just like CNN and NBC and everything you see over here. You know, when you see the reality, it's not really like that. So people who come from foreign, like I'm from the Dutch Caribbean. That's what they call it, right? Holland have some Dutch colonies, so you got a lot of people.
And slavery.
Exactly. So people like me who when you get like 18 and you want to do a higher level of education, we don't have that on our islands down there, so you end up having to go to Holland for that. So you have a lot of people like us up there, and they experience stuff, but you don't hear anything about that or read anything about that in the media, because Holland is a completely different vibe than even the US. You know, you really got to be there to understand. If you're on the outside, it seems like everything cool and crisp, but when you're there, is some different vibes, man.
How is the activism, the response to the repression?
It's not so hardcore, to tell you the truth, because people ain't so united. You know what it is to me? Like, they got Holland that got different colonies, right?
See?
And you got really different people. You got like just if I talk about black people, right? Holland got Suriname. Suriname is a country in South America, right? Yes. They got their own Surinamese language. Yes. Amsterdam, for example, in Holland is the city where most Suriname people are at. I am from St. Eustatius. We grew up speaking English. You have 3 Dutch islands that speak English just like most of the Caribbean. You have 3 other islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, and they speak a language called Papiamento. You catch that? Yeah, that's something different again. So what's going on with the people in Holland now? When you turn to the black lip, they're not united because they don't really connect with each other like that, because some of them from South America, like I said, like Suriname people, and they got their own thing and their own community, You catch what I'm saying? And then the Antillean people split up again. You got the English people who got their own community, and then the Papiamento people who got their own thing. So it's very segregated in that sense.
Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer.
Mm.
Well, I want to bid you the best.
Yeah.
And when you get to New Orleans, I'd like to get you in the studio.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I would love to get to New Orleans. Never been there. Would love to see it. Would love to see it.
Give thanks.
Respect.
Just want to say, give thanks for coming to this year's Reggae on the River 2016, Ziggy.
Yes, man.
It was a great show. It was amazing. We got
Thank
the
you.
lovers. We got the roots. We got everything.
Yes.
Just want to say thank you so much. And
All right.
do you have any last words for the masses?
Yo, just thank you to everybody who turned out to check me out, everybody who's sitting here right now, you know, checking me out after the show. Again, it was really an honor to finally be able to expose myself to American massive on a larger scale, you know what I'm saying? So I am happy to finally play a big scale festival in the US. It was really an honor. I love it. Salute.
Yes, thank you. That was a fire set. Danny Crucial representing internationalreggaestation.com and the Crucial Reggae Connection. You talked about your Jamaican influences. What about when you know, as a youth at 18, moved to Holland?
Yeah.
What influences there helped you out, and also people that helped you along your way in your musical career? Talk about that if you can for
What kind of people?
well, you know, what influences was there artists, reggae artists or producers, promoters, anybody, managers that helped you out there?
You know what? To tell you the truth, I when I started to do my thing, I think my biggest influence was my own brethren. I actually had some friends who was doing this from a youth. When I was a kid, I was more into sports, right? I was like the basketball player, and these guys were actually the DJs and singers from a youth. So when they was doing this, you know, I just got into it through them. And then in Holland, when this other island guy from St. Martin picked me up, started to do my management and push my stuff, there was actually nobody really doing, seriously, there was nobody doing on a serious scale dancehall or reggae. You know, now that I look back, it was nobody, man. So we was like these dudes from the Caribbean, you know, these young kids, and we was messing with it, and nobody else was doing it. And then, things that, you know, we released some music, and it got into some charts on some commercial levels, even being dancehall reggae music, and that's kind of how my thing started going over there, you know.
Okay, and then you said you were raised kind of in the church. You weren't allowed to play music. Who was your support system, really quickly? In your family, was there somebody that was really supportive of what you were doing, even though that wasn't the music maybe you were supposed to play in the family, in the religious community?
Somebody was supportive. Well, like I said, I got into music so late. When I was young, there was nobody like supporting me musically, because I wasn't even doing that. I was in the church choir because my grandparents made me be in the church. You catch what I'm saying? Yeah, but I guess I had a natural feel because my granny was the church organist. You know, she used to lead the thing. Yeah, man. Every Saturday she was the one leading the whole thing when it comes to music. So I guess that feel was there.
Once again, thank you so much, Ziggy,
Yes.
for coming to this year's 2016 Reggae on the River.
Thank you.
Signing out,
Thank you for having
KMED,
me, man.
Press 10. Thank you.
Respect.